All right, hello and welcome to Incredibly. Yes. Oh, I
Yes.
realized my sounds are all the way up. I apologize to everybody's ears for that one. There we go. Welcome back to the show. My name is Joey. I'm joined today by my ever so lovely co-host Uch.
What's happening,
You're
everybody?
looking incredibly close to the camera. I don't know if you're just sitting close or what. Oh,
Yo,
even
honestly,
better.
I I I I
It's
don't
all
know.
good.
I don't even touch this thing. I try to like make it not as whatever, but
Yeah.
I don't
No, it's
know.
all good. Looking good, looking clear, crystal clear.
Ah,
Um, what an exciting week. What an exciting Wednesday it's been
mhm.
for us Marvel fans. We've had Marvel news all up the wazoo. We had X-Men episode 4 come out today. It's been a good one. I'm so excited to be here to talk about this because I've been thinking about it all month. Actually, since they announced 97, I've been waiting for this episode. So, and since last week, it's been a lot of speculation, a lot of deep diving on my end, trying to actually read comics for once.
Yo,
Um,
same. I
yeah,
make a little initiative, here and there when I can.
yeah. I even big fraud moment. I was starting to go back and watch the original animated series. So I started watching some of the
Mm.
episodes that related to today's episode featuring Forge. I got about halfway through the first one, and then I had to do other stuff. So, but yeah, so we're here. We are now. We're live. Quick spoiler warning: we are going to be going over all of X-Men '97 episode 4, and then spoiling shit from the comics, just because it's what we do. It's what we talk
That's what we
about.
do. Yep.
Um, I figured off the top, we'll talk about some Marvel news real quick. There's been some leakage today, the good kind of leakage from one Jonathan Bernthal of a set picture of him, Karen, and our boy Matt on the set of Daredevil Reborn. Um, Dude, holy shit. We knew, like, we got them leaks, I think like last week prior of Matt and Punisher all decked up, ready to go. But now we've got official confirmation from John that he's gonna be returning. So like I remember I saw the image and I immediately DM'd it to Crystal because I
Yeah,
was
she
like,
told me.
"Please." Yeah.
Yeah, she told me. She's like, "Yo, Joey showed me the Punisher," and I was like, is he's here? Like,
He's here.
who else could it have been?"
Right. So glad. I don't remember who played him in the film forever ago.
Oh, was it like Nicolas Cage?
No, he was Ghost Rider. I feel like it was Vin
Oh, that's
Diesel,
right.
but I don't think it was
No.
Vin Diesel. No.
It was 100% not Vin Diesel. That's a good one, though.
Thank you.
I'll take a quick peek real
All
quick
right.
on that.
So, super excited. John, thank you for sharing. I know that you don't like naps, so I have some beef with you, but it's okay. Um, but I'm just glad to know that they're gonna be here. Haven't really seen anything from Foggy outside of the set leaks that we got a couple months ago, where it was Matt, Foggy, and Karen walking out of their building. That's okay. I'm sure we'll get something eventually. So,
Thomas
um,
Jane, who he
Todd
plays Frank Castle. John Travolta is Howard Saint, who I
okay.
thought was actually, because 'cause I've never seen the original Punisher
Yeah,
movies,
me neither.
and Kevin Nash is in it. That's so random,
That
but
checks out.
it does.
He's kinda got the build to be a Marvel kinda guy or like a
He
superhero villain kinda guy, so
Kevin Nash has always been one of these background, big, stocky characters
yes,
in random movies, like, and I honestly, I'm not even saying that to knock him. I'm saying that as like, yo, my man knows his worth. He's about
absolutely.
to get the least amount of effort roles and get that bag because
Yeah,
that's what he made a career out of doing that
right.
shit, so
I wonder if,
whatever.
WCW, WWE, WWF at the time had some deals with some, Hollywood execs getting, because Macho Man was in Spider-Man, Kevin Nash
Oh,
was in
yeah.
Punisher, I guess. I guess it just made sense. All those people kinda loved all the same shit, kinda like us, right? History
Yeah, I would
history
think
repeats
so.
itself, yeah.
Yeah.
And on top of that, we got some Fantastic Four news of
Ah,
Julia
yes.
Gardner of Ozark fame is now going to be playing the female Silver Surfer, Shala Ball, I believe is her name.
Oh, nice.
Not exactly Silver Surfer. Uh, we'll talk about it. Maybe we talk about it a little bit later, but I got her wiki pulled up because I'm not in the know, unfortunately. But she was the Silver Surfer before he was the Silver Surfer's first love. So there's some interesting love stories going on. I also figured that Marvel probably wasn't going to bring back Silver Surfer because it's already been done in the past. Give us something new, kind of like how they're probably not going to have Doom be the main villain right away. I'd really like to see Galactus or any other kind of crazy ass villain be portrayed in Fantastic Four, other than what we've seen already, right?
Yeah, like I don't like when things feel like they're just thrown at us.
Yeah.
So, whatever feels natural, and I trust Marvel. Like they're in a position where they are not messing around anymore.
Mm,
Like, and I don't even think they were trying to mess around already.
right.
It just kind of so happened that they were just trying to pump out mad content, and I think something slipped along the way, and it caused them to like take some steps back and reevaluate, and then to just come to this now conclusive effort of being like, all right, we're just gonna make bangers. Enough said, right? So I mean, we have X-Men 97 on the animation side,
Yep.
and that's doing fantastic. And then obviously Deadpool Wolverine comes out later this year, and that's the only film
Yeah.
that speaks volumes for itself. So when it comes down to Fantastic Four, I know we both know that it's coming next year along with Thunderbolts, if
Yep.
that's still like in the cards.
Yeah. I believe so. We've been seeing a lot more from like Lawrence Pugh's been tweeting out a bunch or posting a bunch from set. So it looks like it's
Mhm.
underway,
Yeah, and
hopefully.
funny thing is Thunderbolts is the current season in Marvel Snap. It just started
Really?
yesterday.
Yep. That's
Yeah.
how they get you. I
Yeah.
remember when Guardians of the Galaxy was coming out, they had like Guardians of the Galaxy everything across all Marvel platforms, and that's how I actually got into it on the app back in the day. Was they had free
Mm.
to read Marvel Guardians of the Galaxy comics. It was like issue 1 through 4 or something like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
whenever that was, like 2011, 2012 ish. So
Yeah, so, like, we'll see, like, and I trust them. Like,
yeah,
I have not lost faith. I've lost faith in Sony. Let me
we
just
all
let
have.
me like, Sony has lost me very hard when it
Yeah,
comes to them trying to make anything without Spider-Man, like, in not the animation side, that's completely separate,
yeah,
but this is ridiculous. I
yeah,
will I will say, but yeah, like I'm looking forward to seeing how this works. This all plays out for the new Silver Surfer
yeah.
when that comes around. I heard about a female version. I never seen a female version, but they are from what the little that I've seen today, it seems like they are trying to really emphasize that they are not within this same universe right now.
Interesting.
So they're going to utilize that to their advantage and take that opportunity to introduce outly world universe type
Yeah,
things that we haven't seen on the silver screen yet, which I respect and I think it's cool. And I'm just, like this Fantastic Four for me on a personal note, Joey, I'm not even gonna lie. This movie needs to be ridiculous. It
I
needs to
agree.
be OD.
I agree.
Because I can't wait. If it's a hit, I can't wait to see my family and shit on all of them
Oh yeah.
because you don't understand how many years of harassment I have to endure every time we all gather. And the first thing they come out to, whenever we're, catching up and talking about what movies we've seen, and then we eventually hit around the superheroes, and then here comes, oh, but Ryan likes the Fantastic Four. Oh my god. I have to hear that shit every time, and they all come at me left and right, and I never get an I get net get I never get to hear enough of it.
I'm so sorry.
So this time, it's
Pedro's got
time.
you, bro. Pedro's
Yeah.
got you. This is
Pedro
it.
and my man from Stranger Things, all right? Eddie.
Eddie,
Yes.
Joseph Quinn.
Yes.
He's here to save the day.
Yes.
Inshallah,
Great
we
great
can
Human
hope,
Torch.
right? Oh, brother. I I what I really want, and we'll be getting into. I know we have some viewers here, so welcome to the show. Hi, thanks for being here. Please like, comment, subscribe.
What's up,
Um,
guys? Who's it
What
for
I
you?
what I think I want from Fantastic Four is to really have Marvel identify, like, um galactic people, then, like, world people, street level. I don't know. I can't think of the words I want for it right now, but kinda like I want them to establish, like, these are the street level heroes. These are the people that are, like, kind of all over the globe, and then here's the
Cosmic,
people
maybe?
cosmic, yeah. And
Okay.
I think Fantastic Four is definitely gonna bring that. They're gonna have to. I don't think they really have a story that's not cosmically tied to something else, so
Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like with Fantastic Four specifically, they might end up being like those bridged heroes where
yeah.
they kind of fall either or, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because you have like Reed Richards, who's the smartest person in the world, in the universe, apparently. Tell that to my brother, he won't believe me. He thinks it's
Yeah,
Tony,
right?
right? He
Who's
he is
dark?
that salty
Shut
still.
up. Forge is pretty smart too, as we find out.
Yeah, 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 yeah. In the
With the
recent
mutants.
X-Men. So yeah, but we'll see.
We'll
They'll be
see.
fine.
Yeah, we've got a year of speculation ahead of us.
Yeah.
So let's dive into episode 4 of X-Men 97. Can I just say, what a fucking episode.
Oh,
This
I
show every
loved
week,
it.
banger after banger after banger, looking like Sheamus on the ropes, bro.
Right.
It's
After banger,
so
after
good.
banger. Yes.
Um, they hit every note along the way with, the nostalgia factor in this episode alone. One, bringing back Mojo, back
Of
again
course.
once again,
Right.
skinny, still terrifying, probably even more terrifying than he was in the original show.
My man said he got nips and tucks. I was
Yeah.
like, "Whoa." That's crazy.
Um, Mojo coming back, seeing the old school 16-bit graphics on in your reaction, you had mentioned that it looked like a Sega Genesis. I believe it was pretty much modeled after the Sega
Yeah, it
Genesis.
had to have been modeled
Yeah.
after it, yeah.
The first half of the episode titled Motendo is a portmanteau on Mojo and Nintendo, obviously.
Yeah.
Um, like what was your favorite part about this specific section?
It's hard to say one
Or if
just
you got a few,
because
just list them.
it
Tell me
was
what you like.
like I just loved the vibe of it
Yeah.
because it was like it was an episode that stood on its own. It didn't hurt anything,
Mhm.
but it felt like we were progressing even more just because we're getting, more screen time for Jubilee and
Yes.
Sunspot. And I always say and feel like every great show has faith in their characters and
Mhm.
showcases them. And they did that here. Like the previous 3 that we've had, I feel like if you go down the list, some more than others, obviously, given the circumstances,
Right.
have had like the proper, just enough proper screen time where it's like you don't really feel like anyone's really overshadowing anyone right now. And this is a reminder that it's like in the live action adaptation, when you really think about it, a lot of those movies are just Wolverine films. He is
Yes.
the main character.
Yes.
You follow his perspective. Everything kind of happens around him. He's the one who ends up being the big resolution towards whatever's going on. And he quite literally is in the majority of these films,
Yep.
right? But then when you watch like this adaptation, an animated version, that again, adapting from the comics, this feels so much more accurate, and it's humbling
Mhm.
because look at what Wolverine has done so far. He's still a fan favorite, but he's not like Hugh Jackman type Wolverine. He
Yeah.
is like the bub, you know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
he's there. He's doing his role right now, and it just feels very authentic and
Mm.
nostalgic, classic.
Yep.
With this episode, I just loved how, like, it felt like, I don't wanna say it felt out of place because X-Men has so many different types of characters and villains where they can quite literally do anything. And
Literally.
with this Montendo thing, it was like
Yeah.
it was so fun, we just came off of this crazy episode with Madelyne Pryor, the Goblin
The
Queen.
Goblin
Are
Queen.
you kidding me? Like,
All hail.
and then they send baby Nathan Cable to the future.
Yep. Said bye to Bishop, basically.
Bro, like Bishop off the team,
Yeah, he's
right?
gone.
He is gone. And so like they go from that tone to this. And it was just like the perfect balance. Like this show is just way too good. This show needs to be a blueprint on not just for nostalgia acts. This needs to be a blueprint on how to properly produce something.
Yep.
Because if you give any show as much love, care, and attention and energy like they've all been with this show, dude, we would be living it up in entertainment right now.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, it's not the same way across the board, but
Not
dude,
yet. I
everyone at
think they'll get
X-Men
there.
97 is OD.
Oh, for sure. I think this kind of project coming out of Marvel at this kind of time is really telling of what the future looks like for Marvel, because the period of the last 2 years, everybody's been like Marvel's washed, this, that, and the third, and then something like this fucking drops, and it's just leagues better than anything we've seen recently from anybody.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think it's kind of shades of what's to come from Marvel as a whole. I know this is kind of like a tangent, but we had mentioned it earlier. Kevin Feige really taking a step back and saying, "Okay, fewer projects. Let's focus in. Let's hone it down." It's kind of showing in this show. Having a
Right.
team specifically dedicated to something like this is really just making this a piece of art that's gonna withstand the test of time.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. And this first half of this episode is just like a love letter to fans of not even just the show, but of the games, of the comics, of absolutely everything. Because it even had, well, we'll break down just a little bit here in a sec, but it had a very obscure character to most be highlighted in it. And so
Yeah.
it was just really nice to kind of, it almost felt like a beach episode in a way, where it was kind of like, hey, let's take a step back from the seriousness of Scott having kind of an affair, almost an affair, and a child with another woman, to, hey, let's
He
go
didn't
have fun
know.
in a video game. Yeah,
He didn't
exactly.
know.
He didn't know.
He didn't
but
know.
but it's like, it's almost like a break in the programming. And this episode is actually a little bit different than most episodes because it was a twofer, which I don't really think we've seen
Right.
from X-Men in the past. Although, like most other cartoons, like SpongeBob notably, or in most
Like
other
Fairly
shows,
Odd
yeah,
Parents
they have
and
twofers where it's like
yeah.
two different stories in one. So, um, let's get into it. I have a quick synopsis real fast to break it in, and then we'll break it down. So, quick synopsis: in Montendo is Jubilee's 18th birthday, and what does she get as a present? She gets teleported into a video game by Mojo, accompanied by Sunspot. And after running into the future digital version of herself, learning a few lessons along the way, Jubilee is able to take down Mojo and finally have a nice on-screen kiss. What an episode!
What an
So
episode.
beautiful. Um, some quick stuff off the top. Um, New intro song for Marvel Animation. Absolutely killer. I popped hard.
Yes.
I was not expecting it. It's kind of like it's a weird, like almost 90s rock take on it. And I loved it. I was because they've always done like different intros for all the shows, and they kind of like animate it differently. And so they hadn't really done anything in the first two or the
Yeah.
first three. And so then this one hit, I was like,
Bro,
okay, Marvel.
they are flexing in many different ways with this show. And it shows
Yes.
because so far we're 4 episodes in, every intro has been different.
Yes.
Even on the minute,
Mm,
you can pick things out.
mhm.
And yo,
Got a
something
list.
that I saw today that I retweeted before we started, I literally was just like, this show's OD.
Can I
Like,
guess? Can I guess
go
what it
ahead,
was?
go ahead, go ahead.
Was it Madelyne Pryor being in the opening instead of Jean Grey?
I was
It's the
like,
little things, bro. Yep.
stop.
I didn't notice it in the show, and then I rewatched it, I was like, "It's her, she's actually here," which makes so much sense because as the cast rotates, they're plugging in people, taking people out, and changing things up.
Correct.
Incredible.
Yes.
This is the level of detail that Marvel has come to be known for over the years that I feel like it's kind of been lacking a little bit, but now they're flexing hard. They're doing a full lat spread, dumping a bicep, doing everything, right?
Yeah.
Um, Some other things in the opening is we get a little glimpse of Jubilee fighting Mojo from the original with, I believe it was Longshot on the ground, who is, the original guy for Mojo's television shows,
Okay.
um,
Yeah, yeah.
which
Yeah,
makes sense. Yeah, he's
it's been a
the guy.
while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Forge now had a little spot in the opening where it kinda showed, I believe it was a glimpse from the episodes of past. Um, Bishop also was not in the title card, unfortunately, he lost his name, womp womp, sorry, Bishop.
Hey,
I
man,
lo
he's not on the team. You're
Yeah,
out.
but I loved having him up there doing the blasts,
Yeah.
and then we see and I think I'll have to go back and kinda take note, but then we see Emma Frost in the Hellfire Club as Charles is trying to listen into them in the intro. And so I there and I think Leandro was in there too. I think there's a scene where they were on the ship going somewhere, but I think that was in
That
most of
was
the
in the
opening
last
so
one
far.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was in the last one.
So I like that they're almost giving us like a previously on in the title sequence.
Yes.
It's so cool to see because it's like a nod to if you know, you know,
Mm.
because I feel the show has been built so well so far that like if you haven't watched the show, but you know a little bit of X-Men, you'll understand basically everything that's happening, right?
Yeah, like, this is such an interesting situation because there's 5 seasons of the original X-Men animated
So
series,
much.
and honestly, you don't even have to watch it.
Not at
Based
all.
on based on how they've been doing this show, like, new folks that's introduced to X-Men, like, imagine if this is your first time. Actually, Crystal, this is her first time. She didn't watch none of the original show, and she's been watching it as it's been coming out, hooked, just like with anything else that's
It's good
fire.
shit.
Yes.
It's the best. It's like I don't know, I feel like a kid again when I watch it because it's like, even though we know what's going on, even though we know what's going on, it doesn't matter because it's still good regardless, right? Like, each episode kinda has, like, a start and a finish to all the plots. This is the first episode that doesn't, it's gonna have a two-parter. But,
Yeah.
like, if I knew nothing about the X-Men, I think I would still be engaged and I would still love this show, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, listen, if you didn't love the X-Men before, you definitely will now. I will
It's
tell
hard
you that
not to.
right now.
There's a lot of X-Men, to be fair. If you love this X-Men, you you will love it. But yeah,
Nah. And it's funny you say that because I was just thinking in my head, I'm like, dude, X-Men is so goated and they're so godlike that sometimes I forget, like, they are a part of Marvel.
yeah, right? They could
Like
be easily be their own thing.
they are so like
Yeah.
they expand. They got so many characters. All the Easter eggs that we'll see in these episodes with X Factor and all these
Mhm.
other subgroups and people and whatever that
Yep.
they just show themselves. They appear, and whether you know them or not, you're just like, "Yo, what the hell?" Like, they
Right.
got a roster. It's not even just the X-Men themselves, it's all the characters that come from X-Men, which is I'm like, I know I'm getting ahead of myself right now because we're trying to freaking get over this episode, but, like, I am, like, 100% positive that we will definitely be getting an Avengers versus X-Men film in the future.
Oh,
There's no
yeah.
way they're
I
not
can't
gonna do
wait.
that.
Oh, there's no way.
They have to.
Yeah. It's too much money. That's exactly what it'll sell so many toys. I'll buy so many tickets. The box offices that were burnt down from Deadpool will be rebuilt and then burnt down again for this movie when it comes out.
They're just gonna have to play it in stadiums.
Oh my, could you imagine? Okay, anyway, we're gonna get ahead
Yeah,
of
yeah,
ourselves.
yeah,
Okay,
okay, let's get it.
that'd be fucking sick. I would
Yeah.
totally go to anyway. In this episode, the core team minus Scott and Jean, who are off doing um
Stuff.
fun stuff with Genosha. I believe they're trying to get it legalized as a sovereign nation with the UN. They're all hanging out in the kitchen, waiting for Jubilee to wake up, basically, and come in. And they're all kind of like, "Hey, it's Jubilee's birthday. What are we gonna do?" And Magneto is basically like, "We're gonna run some fucking drills because Sinister is gonna kill us any moment. We need to be aware." Um, Jubilee finally comes down, guns ablazing, 18th birthday. Yay, happy birthday, Jubilee. Rogue asks what she wants to do. Obviously, she wants to go to the arcade. She's a kid back in the 90s. What else do you do on your birthday but go to the arcade, right?
Dude, I would have been like besties with Jubilee,
That's what I'm
100%.
saying.
She seems like such a homie. Like, "Oh,
Yes.
let's go. Let's play some freaking Street Fighter," or
She
something
loves
like that.
dancing. She loves video games.
Yup.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah. Fun. Rogue asks Jubes what she wants to do. Go to arcade. Magneto swiftly shuts that down. Hardcore. And then we see Jubilee and Sunspot hanging out in their room, in her room. I'm assuming at this point Sunspot is just an X-Men. I'm assuming he's at the school. Like it doesn't seem like he's going home. But I mean, if you're hanging out with the X-Men all the time,
It's like it's a very, strong assumption I'm sure a
yeah,
lot of us have. Um, right now, though, with where the story is, I think that they're just kinda protecting him.
yeah, that's fair.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he is under their custody
Mm.
so that he, doesn't get into the wrong hands, and then, the whole torture and blah, blah, blah that
Yeah,
might, that a lot of
the
mutants end up
FOH.
suffering from. Exactly. So,
Yep,
they're just holding him, right? And I'd imagine by the end of this first season, he will officially become
I hope
an
so.
an an X-Man. So, we'll see what like,
Yeah.
we'll see if he actually gets in on the team in time to be in the intro card.
Oh, that'd
That
be
would be
so sick.
but if not, they'll save it for season 2,
Yeah,
I'm sure.
yeah. We'll see. So, they're hanging out in Jubilee's room. And all of a sudden, the Motendo comes to life and sucks them into the video game. Every kid's wildest dream. I always wish that I could just be in the video game, like not like a Jumanji scenario where it's like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm about to
yeah, I feel
die
that.
in this thing, but like to go in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they get sucked in by Mojo because Mojo is absolutely obsessed with the X Men and really wants oh my gosh, really wants Jubilee to play all of the hits because he's so tired of the same old thing from the old boys club and I have a list of Who's the Boss, A Different World, and Divorce Court featuring Summers versus Gray, which is absolutely awesome. Such good nods to TV back in the day.
Yeah, yeah.
So that shit was just on all the time. My parents would just have it on in the background. If you are born past the year probably 95, if you're younger than me, you probably have no idea what any of those are outside of Divorce Court, I would probably say.
Yeah.
Um, and so Mojo really just wants to up his game. And how else is he going to up his game? By investing in video games, obviously, and becoming the largest streamer in the world or in the galaxy, basically.
Pretty
Um,
much. He's like the only one.
he's literally the only, at that point in time, he's definitely the only streamer.
Bro, Justin
Yeah,
TV
Justin TV did not
got
come
the
out
idea
yet.
from Mojo, son.
Exactly.
Oh.
The original streamer, Ninja Who?
They all right?
Yeah.
Mojo.
So Jubilee and Roberto or Sunspot have to then proceed through a couple levels, reliving Jubilee's memories along the way from all the X-Men adventures over the past 5 seasons, which is really, really cool. So like we said earlier, you don't have to watch the show, but I feel like if you watch the show, there's so many things that just make you just like hit you here because it's been 20 years, right? Like it's just been almost 30 at this point,
Yes. Yo, like, for as someone that has seen the whole original, and, like, I don't wanna claim, like, I remember like, my memory sucks. Let me be real, okay? My memory is trash,
Mhm.
and I'm very bad with names a lot of times, right? I
Yeah, we know
remember
that.
faces, but, names not so much, right? And there's a lot of characters in X-Men, but the point of the matter is that they have such a great writing team. They figured out how to do something refreshing, fun, new,
Mhm.
while also nodding to the original in whatever way that they could, even in the slightest minute ways, and I love that because as someone that might be new to it, they'll be like, "Oh, she's reliving and playing through memories. Oh, this happened. Oh, this happened in the original. Oh shit, maybe I'm on Disney Plus. I might as well just go check it out." And it's
Yeah.
literally like after you're done watching the episode, the first thing that it suggests is that show
Yeah,
anyway.
exactly.
So just
Yeah.
hit that. Click it. Click
They're
it.
only they're only like 21 minutes long too, so it's like
Oh yeah.
super easy watching.
Shit is
So,
peak.
they're running back through time, through all of Jubilee's memories. Jubilee's basically like, "Why would everyone wanna leave? This is perfect. This is showing me everything that I've ever been through, all the good and the bad." Um, and that's when, a stranger appears, who we then later find out is Abyssa? In my notes, I have Scissor, so Abyssa.
I
Um,
like that.
who, ends up being Jubilee-ish. She's a beta tester AI version of Jubilee that Mojo had created in order to run all these levels to make it what it is. Um Completely different in the comics, that's okay because her story's a little crazy, and I doubt that they would ever have time to do it, but so bringing her in this capacity with the outfit decked out, with all the chains, all the spikes and everything was just so cool to see, this old, not even grizzled, but just, like, more mature version of Jubilee
The
telling
vet.
yeah, the veteran, yes, telling her to basically, "Hey, you know, it's nice to have all these things, but at some point, you're gonna have to grow up and learn and mature, and it's okay that you have to do that, so it's time to move on, but video games are still sick, so don't ever stop playing video games." Um,
Yeah.
they easily dispatch Mojo, and Jubilee learned some super sick, new skills like the firework discs, um
Bro, they are all anime fans.
yo,
All
easily.
those animators, everyone that's behind the scenes.
Destructo disc!
Dude, first of all, I called her Future Jubilee because I'm like, "What?"
Yeah,
Right?
basically, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, she's over here doing Destructo Disc, she's, like, hovering around, she's whizzing, whirling, and then they do a Rasengan, like, from when Boruto and Naruto
Yes.
did it together. What
Father-son
are we
Rasengan.
doing? That dude, I was like, "This shit is fire." And what's even more crazy is that fans that don't even know what the hell I'm talking about, that don't watch anime, that did not watch Naruto, that did not watch the Boruto movie at the least, they're probably looking at that like, "Damn, that looked pretty sick." Me, I'm like, "What the fuck?" Like, they're doing real shit right now. Like, come on, man. Like, this show, like, people that might think it's already good don't even understand how really good it is.
They got
Like,
no idea.
they have no idea. Like,
It's on just deeper, it just goes down. The more you look at it, the more you can dig up.
did you know that they even Easter egged like a very famous alternate color that Yipes used when he played Marvel 2
Really?
with Sentinel? The part where they're just right into the game and they're fighting off the Sentinels, and you see the
Yeah.
regular purple and blue ones,
Mhm.
but then you see variant colors like orange.
Mm.
So that orange one is a classic default skin for Sentinel. And he made a tweet and he was like, "There's no way they put this in the show." They're sampling and referencing everything that has to do with this shit. And it's so crazy because that is the power of how much it expands. Next
Yeah.
thing you know, Spider-Man 98 about to come out and Spider-Cuz in that bitch. Why? Not gonna happen
Uh,
at all.
uh,
But yeah.
TV 17, TV 21 probably at that
It'd be
point,
funny
I'm
as shit if he was in the background, you just hear him, like, getting, like, censored. That
right?
would be fucking hilarious. Oh my god. But
If we
anyways,
can get Lego Spider-Man, uh, animated into the actual, Across Spider-Verse movie, we absolutely get Spider-Cuz.
I hope
I
so.
think he's on the radar.
They would have to water him down or they
Yes.
would censor him hard. He should
Yes.
be in Deadpool. That's where he would
That'd
fit
be
the
funny,
best.
right? Spider-Cuz.
Oh,
Oh my
man.
god.
He's the
So
greatest.
so, they end up taking down Mojo, but, not before Spiral is seen. One, shout out Spiral actually being in, not just a morph.
Yeah,
That was
not
really
just a
cool.
morph
"How many
character.
hands?" You know? So, it was really nice to see Spiral, but now I think that's setting up something in the future. Obviously, everything that happens has a reason. We see Spiral after Mojo gets the shit kicked out of him, kind of push him down and is standing tall, wrestling after he's defeated. So who knows? Maybe we'll see Spiral in the future. We got another season, hopefully two more seasons after this. So really nice. And then so they get kicked out of the game, back into real life. Jubilee and Roberto share a very heartfelt moment and a very deserving kiss. Round of applause. Happy birthday, Jubilee.
Let's go.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
It was so nice to see her get flowers. So who is Abyssa? Um, she is a future version of Jubilee. When Jubilee was captured by Mojo and her future self and brought to the big crunch, it's literally at the end of time, right before the next big bang happens. She's enslaved by Mojo and becomes Abyssa and is ordered in order to stop Mojo from interrupting the continuation of the universal cycle. So she basically sacrifices herself in order to stop Mojo from destroying the creation cycle.
Mm,
Abyssa then goes and captures Jubilee in the present to basically do the same thing again. It's just kind of like a cycle. But
yeah.
Jubilee refuses to help Mojo this time, thus ending Abyssa. It was too issues that she was a part of. So it was really cool to kind of bring the comics into the show in this way and kind of take
Yeah.
a character that's kind of like really obscure, kind of was only there to serve a single plot point and get and shine some light on it because the design was sick. And the fact that she used
Yeah.
the fireworks to kind of skate around, so fucking
Yes.
sick.
It it allowed Jubilee to see like and they teased this, like, I think what was it? Didn't Magneto say he made, like, some sort of he had, like, a line where he spoke to Jubilee saying, like, "Oh, like, you have a lot of potential and you're not using your powers, like, to its fullest," or something like that.
Mhm,
And
basically.
then it's like the payoff literally within this twofer episode
Yeah.
where at the end she sees her future self using her shit. And I was, I'm not even gonna lie. I always loved Jubilee as a character, but she was never a favorite because
Mhm.
I always thought she was just okay, but there
Yeah.
was nothing special or crazy about her. After seeing her future shit doing craziness with her, I'm like, "Oh, she's OD now."
Yeah.
So, I can't
It's
wait to see more. I
yeah.
hope I hope she takes from that experience and starts fucking Rasengan,
Yeah.
Destructo Discs, and all that.
I think now that she's an adult, she's pretty much an X-Men. Like, I think she's on the team now. I think that's what we'll see going forward, especially now that we're short a Storm and we're kinda short a Cyclops and a Jean Grey at this point, right? So I think having her on the team would be pretty cool, unless we get more people called in, Colossus, maybe, some Magic, maybe, some of these other people, we'll see, who knows?
Yeah.
Um, so, anything else? Was there anything you noticed we didn't cover? Because this episode, this little thing was chock full. Oh, the Jubilee. What was the name of the game?
Oh, Rise of the Jubilee.
Rise of the Jubilee.
I need that game. Like, I need everything that happened to be playable
Yeah.
for consumers. And I'm sure I speak for everyone that watched that episode that they would also love to check that shit out as well.
Yes, for sure. And with the Magneto, the where it kind of does the old school pan up. He's like looking over the earth and it pans up to the stars that have the name. Absolutely killer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gaming. Oh, hi Liam. Thanks for joining.
You're
Liam's the homie. Um, let's rate it real fast. 10 out of 10 would watch again. All right, cool. Moving
yes.
on. Yeah.
Moving on, yes.
So, quick synopsis. Life Death Part 2.
Is that
Uh,
part 1?
sorry, Life Death Part 1. Part 2 is 2 weeks away. In the second half of the episode titled Life Death, Storm and Forge's relationship grows insanely fast before our very eyes. That is until like really, really fast, I will say.
Extremely fast. Like, what are we doing?
Right. That is until Forge reveals that he is the reason that Storm lost her powers. Um, understandably feeling super upset and betrayed, she slaps him and then leaves in a fit of rage, only to be whisked back to Forge's house by a mystical demon, the adversary, and that is where we are left. Um, I will say, X Men '97, we know X Men the original series has is very fast. The pacing is super fast. This felt very fast.
This
like
beats
it,
this beats a record, bro.
yeah, I will say I wish that we would have spent a little bit more time with Storm and Forge together, but I think the time we did have was pretty good. They hit a lot of the beats, so uh, we'll just fly through this real fast. So they Storm comes down and is wearing white overalls. That is basically what she wore in the comic the whole time. For the most part, is these white overalls.
Mhm.
After a few other things that they didn't show, whatever. Kind of sad about it.
Mhm.
Forge then explains how his powers work and how he lost his hand and leg in the war. They go for a ride on horseback, and Storm is seeming to finally feel like herself again, which is really nice. It's cool to see.
Out the
Yep,
wind.
Aurora feeling the wind.
Yeah, that was
Um,
cool.
Storm takes notice of owls circling them, claims she hadn't noticed them before, but not in the opening scene or not when the owl was in the house during their dinner did she notice them. So then we go back to Forge's lab slash basement where we see images of him featuring X Factor, which is really cool. We got
I was yeah.
Havoc, Polaris, Multiple Man, Quicksilver, Strong Guy, and Wolfsbane. I will say this. I love that every time they show a picture of an old team in the show, it's like very much so the same art style as in the comics of whenever that
Correct.
whenever that team was introduced. I don't know. I don't know exactly who did the run for X Factor, but it was very much so like the exact same art style, which is really really cool to see.
Word.
We also see quickly a picture of Forge with Dr. Adler, who it was like right underneath the X Factor picture, who is someone Forge was working with in the past, in past episodes, where Adler was trying to create a cure for mutants, where Rogue was willing to get cured, was trying to be cured by Dr. Adler. And that was back in season 3, 4, I think, way
Yeah.
back in the day. So Forge then puts Storm in the machine to try to bring her powers back, but unfortunately it fails. And then that is when Forge reveals to Storm that this is the reason why, um, this is the reason as to how you got your powers removed. Is I basically helped build the couplers, the inhibitors, that then the idea was stolen by Executioner, who then used the powers on you. So Storm is very mad, leaves, but not after she slaps him. Not until she slaps him, which was an amazing slap. Thank you, Storm. He deserved it. Um, and her last line before leaving was, "So you lied, my weaver of lies," which was just an absolutely amazing lie. Storm storms off on horseback during a storm, only be teleported, dropped through the ceiling of Forge's home. That then forces, that force that then teleported her then revealed itself as the adversary. Which, holy shit, this thing was terrifying,
Ah, yeah, and I was like, "Yo, I don't know who the fuck this is." Like, I'm not even
right?
gonna lie. And then like when I was editing and I saw the subtitle again, I was like, "Oh, adversary. Oh,
Adversary, yeah.
okay."
It says its name pretty fast.
Mhm.
Basically, from what I gathered, is that it feeds on like fear, or it feeds on some type of emotion. I have it pulled up
That's
for
a
the
very
exact reason.
Japanese type of villain, to be honest. I've seen,
So,
some other shit like that.
right? So it's like a yokai kind of deal.
Yeah.
The adversary was an ancient mystical entity, possibly demonic in nature, who sought to destroy the universe and create a new one in its stead. The Cheyenne people, who are the Native Americans that Forge is a part of, the Cheyenne people also refer to the adversary as the Great Trickster. For the adversary used deception and trickery in attempting to achieve his goals. His native dimension was one of chaos, which the adversary loved and sought to spread to Earth's dimension, overturning order for the mere sake of doing so. So this is a little bit of a departure from the comics, in which it were these things called wraiths that came into. I think we had talked about this last time. There were wraiths that had attacked Forge, and were kind of attacking every. I don't remember exactly, but they were trying to get. I believe they were trying to get Rogue's powers, because what they could do is they would basically suck you in the forehead, zap you of all your energy, and then absorb your being. And so I believe they were trying to get Rogue. And so at the same time, Forge and Gyrick were trying to um, also get Rogue, while also trying to defend off these wraiths. And so
Yeah.
then Storm's powers get zapped. Forge saves Storm. And so here now they're having, this is a complete kind of derailment from the original story. Having the adversary come in kind of fits. There's some other characters that were introduced in the comic that have not been introduced. So we still have a part 2 coming up in 2 weeks. Um, So give me your overall thoughts and feelings of this part, because this was fast, to
Yeah,
say the least.
I think it was fast because when they were writing these, I guess at some point they figured, okay, the Motendo episode maybe doesn't need to be as long as it is. So I
Mm,
feel like then they decided, all right, well then maybe this love, what was it? Love, life, death,
life death.
right?
Yeah,
Maybe life, death will split up, and because of that, this first part, I guess they felt like they had to rush through this whole relationship that I didn't realize they had all of a
right.
sudden. Like, it seems like off screen, they must have gotten, maybe they got intimate or
Yeah,
something because, like, listen, I don't know how you approach someone at a bar of all places, say, "Hey, I'm a friend of Professor Charles Xavier.
that's your
I
pickup line.
Right, like, that's your pickup line, right? And it's like, "I know how to bring your powers back." So then they leave, we don't see what happens,
Yeah, go to his ranch out in the middle of nowhere.
out of and we don't even know how much time has passed.
Right.
We don't know how much time they have spent with each other. And then Storm has like the entire episode has shown no like interest in him in that way. Like they were acting very like cordial and friendly, which is so normal. And then when he drops the line like, "But I love you," I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
That shit was random. I'm not even gonna lie. That was so random. I'm not even gonna knock it for being like this episode was terrible. It wasn't terrible, but this was clearly more of a setup episode. But
Right.
again, this was like, ugh, I don't know. Like
Yeah.
it was awkward.
The
I guess is
pacing was really weird because in the comic you are it's and I feel like I really wanted to read the comic for this because I know how important it is to Storm, right? Like this is like one of Storm's major stories of her losing her powers, getting them back, finding out who she is when because I think at the time she was kind of like going through all this stuff trying to figure out who she is. She lost her powers, trying to refine herself. She becomes the leader of the X-Men because at the same time Scott's dealing with everything with Madelyne, baby Nathan. And
yeah,
so she's like, you either got to leave the X-Men or we're done.
you're
And
right.
he's like, well, I need to prove myself. He Storm powerless Storm beats Cyclops, right?
Mhm.
So all this is happening, but not all this is happening in the show. So it's kind of a Storm kind of down on her luck, just running away, trying to figure something out, gets picked up at a bar by this guy who knows Charles, presumably. I believe Storm wasn't on the mission back in the time. So, but like as a kid, one of the things my mom told me was like, if somebody comes up to you and tells you that they're my friend and they're going to take you to your mommy, you don't go. And I'm like, okay, got it. What did Storm do? Storm literally goes with him. He's like, I know your professor. I know Charles Xavier. Okay, help me. So that part I do get. I think if I had not known the story prior, I may have been thrown off a little bit by it, because it did happen so fast. There was a few like flirty kind of things, but it wasn't like anything too much. And for him to drop you are a goddess, powers be damned, I love you, like out of left field. So, um, not the strongest episode for such an important story, but
Yeah,
I agree with you in the fact that I think the Motendo one definitely I don't I it may could have been cool if it was a whole 31-minute episode and they were, like, really fighting through the levels, but I feel the way that it was paced was good, and I don't think it needed to be longer, so I do agree that I think
yeah,
they needed to slip in because I don't even think it wasn't even, like, a half the episode, it was, like, 11 minutes or so. It was, like it
yeah.
was a pretty short time span, so I'm sure once episode 6 comes out, which I believe is the Life Death Part 2, they'll be able to flesh it out a little bit more. But yeah, it was very interesting.
I'm gonna agree with you on that one. Like he of that part of this episode hurt that story, I think, more than it did any sort of building on it
Yeah,
because like you see the characters interact, you know what the purpose behind them even being together is.
right.
They don't establish any sort of like romantic relationship at all, and yet they kind of just threw that line in there for Forge. Almost as if, like, they were and when I say they, I mean, like, everyone behind the scenes involved in the project. At this point, they were probably like, "Okay, this one is gonna be for the comic book readers."
Yeah,
Because they
I feel that.
know that Forge and Storm are in a relationship. Listen, I found that out. I found that piece of information out at the end of last week's episode off of Twitter
Yeah,
because people were like, "Oh yeah, in the comics, they're a thing, and Forge actually gets her powers back,
yeah,
but they have a relationship." Okay, cool, but it's like that didn't happen in here. It's like they're working towards a version of that. That's
yeah,
what the whole purpose of an adaptation is.
yeah.
But
So even in the comic, um, it's very interesting how they set it up because Storm is kind of shown as she's like bedridden. She's like, I don't want to leave the bed. I'm so distraught over the fact that I lost my powers. I don't know what to do. She finally comes out of her room. Forge is like, hey, I'm gonna make dinner. She's like, okay, I'll get dressed. She puts on a dress, like this really nice pink dress to approach Forge and kind of like not put on a show, but kind of like to present herself, be like, look, this is who I am, kind of thing, and kind of almost like court him in that way. Then he's like, he's like flabbergasted, like, holy shit. You can kind of feel the tension in the panels. And then she's like, okay, well, I'm going to put something else on. So then she goes back up, puts on the overalls, and that's what she's in kind of the most rest of the time. You miss that in this episode. And so I feel like
Yeah.
it takes away from the dynamic of the relationship a little bit, which kind of sucks. But again, it's like, if you know, you know, kind of thing. But I feel like there can't be too many of those, like, and this was one of those times where I feel like it really would have benefited from slowing the pace down and
Right.
showing more, even though I know they needed to get to the cliffhanger of, hey, this is the thing that's going to be the catalyst to help Storm get her powers back, kind of deal. Like, this is what's going to happen next time, which is unfortunate because you really didn't get to see how their relationship evolves. It's just kind of like this dude just proclaimed that he loves Storm after telling her that he basically took her powers away. Like, how is there any tension? Like, what's happening?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the more you break it down, the more it doesn't sound sensible, and that's unfortunate because like we give this show high praises,
yeah,
and it just kind of sucks to hear that like damn, like this is maybe their first little slip up, which kind
yeah.
of sucks.
And it's not really that big of a deal because I know the pacing has to be fast. These are all
Yeah,
31
yeah,
minute episodes with the intro and the outro and credits. So
right, right.
I get it. So I'm not knocking it too hard. I just wish that we would have got a little bit more build up on it.
Yeah, nah, yeah, I agree.
'Cause
I
otherwise, it's
agree.
cool. I was expecting, the Executioner to be Forge. I thought, how crazy would that shit be if that's what it was?
Oh,
That doesn't
right,
make any sense, so I'm glad it wasn't that. Um, yeah, so it was just really interesting how they relate it back where, because in the comic, Forge is literally the one that makes the gun. Like, it's literally his design.
right.
So for him to say, "Oh, well, no, I didn't make the inhibitors, I didn't make the gun, I made some blueprints forever ago that some dude in Ireland took the design for and then made into the thing." Kind of felt a little weird, but
And honestly, that makes this whole situation of that line even weirder because after he says that to her, or no, before even that, the whole love thing, when he explains, like, listen, I feel guilty because what took your powers away is something that I helped build, but it wasn't me. Like, I didn't shoot it. I didn't even really build it. I
mhm,
built the plans for it, the blueprint, and it was
yeah,
stolen, and she fucking hit him for it. Like, she was coming at him left and right
yeah,
and all this, and I was like, that was like the first little moment where I was like, "What? Like,
yeah,
why are you mad?" Like, it wasn't even him. It's like how when people like, this is very different, but like this is the first thing that came up, is
okay,
when like you have folks that wanna get all mad at Bucky for
mm,
killing Tony's parents, but he was mind controlled. There's a complete difference. Like,
yeah,
yes, he did it, but he had no idea what he was doing.
right,
It's like, when people sleepwalk, they don't know what the fuck's
yeah.
going on. Crystal's rolling around on me. She doesn't remember. All right.
Yeah, Sarah
Same
fucked me in the
thing.
fucking face the other night. She's crazy. I can't get mad at her.
Exactly. So I just gotta take it,
Right,
And
babe,
I tell
yeah.
her the next day, she'll be like, "Oh, sorry," and laughs,
Sorry.
right? It's fine. It's fine. But it's the same thing.
Yeah,
It's the same thing. So I was like, dude, what are we doing here? And then
yeah,
and then it just made it weirder when he just drops this whole I love you
yeah.
when it's like we don't even see it's like it's almost as if like you have to read that comic and then watch
No,
this
yeah.
episode.
I would have even been okay if it was like, 3 weeks later, or like it was like they kinda gave you
Yeah,
a timeline
something.
because, the way it was set up in the comic kinda made it seem like, okay, so it's Gyrick, Forge, and then Storm is helping rescue some people off a boat. Storm gets shot. Gyrick or Forge rescues Storm, brings her back to his penthouse, his lab
Uh-huh.
building, whatever. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
And he
yeah.
freaked it. No, and then back in Texas. I mean, he kind of tried. So he took her back to his house in Texas, and it seems like it was almost like either the next day or like the next week. She's like kind of still suffering from it. Whereas this is like she lost her powers and purposefully left the X-Men after that like insanely kind speech she had with Jean about like motherhood and all this stuff,
Yeah,
only to have
yeah,
only to leave,
yeah.
and then to just go along with some guy. It's like Aurora is not an idiot.
Right.
She's a goddess. She controls the
You
weather.
yeah,
She's everything,
yeah,
And so for her to
literally.
just kinda go along with this, it just kind of I don't know. I don't know. But it's okay. I feel like I'm giving it a pass because of how much I love everything else.
Yep,
But
that's what's
also
happening.
but also it is a part 1, and it's more of like a part, like, point 5 really with how short it is because we're getting a full episode.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't know. I
Yeah,
honestly, I feel like they should have just saved it for a full
yeah,
episode, and then the Motendo episode could have been a little longer
yeah.
too, if
I
that.
agree.
But yeah.
Alright. Well, yeah. Overall, I really liked it. I thought the adversary was really fucking cool, kinda having the owl be hinted at throughout the whole episode.
Yeah,
Seeing
yeah,
it
yeah.
seeing it swoop down and in when we see the house originally, then it's in the den of the kitchen or wherever they're sitting at, and then it's swooping over them in the valley, and then it shows up and the adversary is this crazy ass owl humanoid fucking
Yeah, that
thing.
shit was
So,
looking crazy.
yeah, so who knows? I am excited to see part 2. I will say that.
Yeah, 100%.
Nothing about this deterred me from seeing part 2 because next week we're getting, some more Gene content. So,
Interesting.
I'm assuming it's gonna be 'cause I believe it's called Inferno. I think this is about let me look it up. We're live, I can cut this later.
If it's Inferno, then that I mean, it's interesting that they're going back to Gene. Well, I guess it does make sense because like we thought we
Oh, I
were
lied.
seeing Gene.
Alright, so next episode is called Remember It, which is going to be about, I believe, what Jean and Scott are dealing with now with all the Genosha stuff.
Yes, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
And then it's Life Death. Then it's I could have sworn I saw something about Inferno. Maybe I'm an idiot. And then it's Life
The
Death
three
Part 2, then Bright Eyes, and then Tolerance is Extinction parts 1 through 3. So
mm,
it's gonna be good. I kind of like this is why I like Game of Thrones so much because I really like kind of like the political kind of stuff behind um all the action. So to
mhm.
see an episode that may be more focused on that kind of stuff, I'm very excited. So also, just quickly looking at the episode, this holds no bearing on us whatsoever. Looking at the episode scores on IMDb, and so far this episode has the lowest rating out of all the episodes.
Makes sense.
So yeah, I think the pacing really killed it. So
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if any of those folks said anything similar to some of the things that we were saying.
yeah,
So, yeah,
yeah, it is what it is.
it is what it
It is
is.
what it is. It'll be better next time. I hope we're still gonna get a season 2. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
So any thoughts and feelings as a whole on the episode?
Oh, no, I mean, we said everything from top
Yeah,
to bottom. Like, overall, we obviously enjoyed it. Definitely the high points was everything from Motendo, and
just
unfortunately, the low
nostalgia trip,
points
man.
yeah, and then, life death, it didn't really hit as much as anybody might have expected it to
Yeah,
right now. So, I mean, but it's not done. The resolution hasn't been met
for sure.
yet, and then we're gonna be getting some other stories happening in the next episode. So we'll have some time before we kind of get back around to the Storm and Forge story.
Yeah,
So hopefully within that 2 week span, we will have forgotten about how lackluster that part was, and we'll see, what happens with next week because I'm sure they'll give us something to knock our
but
socks off again.
we'll be hooked again for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm hooked either way.
Yeah, we're gonna go play all those X-Men games you picked up. this
Oh,
past
X-Men
week,
Legends?
bro.
Yeah,
This
man.
being that this was a video game themed episode, I feel like you got to stream them. I think that's the only thing you got to do if
I
you find
asked
time.
that on my Twitter, and it didn't get as much love as the initial post did, but, I mean,
Shame.
people did show interest
Yeah. It's
nonetheless.
good stuff. I
Yeah.
remember the side tangent. I remember playing had to be the Wolverine Weapon X game.
Okay, see,
You know what
that
I'm talking
was the
about?
one I was looking for because
Yeah.
I have that on 360, but
Mm.
I don't have it up here. So I was looking for
Ah,
the PS3 version because I have
gotcha.
the Deadpool one. I'm already out. Yo,
Ooh,
In June, I'm already planning this. June, I'm playing both of those games again, leading
beautiful.
into
Hell yeah.
July.
It's good stuff. I remember playing it as a kid. I was never allowed to have those games, rated M, all that stuff. So, but I had one family friend that my parents loved that I would go over to his house all the time, and his mom didn't give a shit what he played. So we played all the rated M games. That's the first time I watched Candyman was at his house.
Oh
I
my god.
remember, and then we would play, that specific game all the time. So, very fond memories. We'll have to go back down memory lane and play some games. So, um, do we wanna wrap here, or do we wanna talk wrestling? Because I know you had mentioned it.
Ask the question, Joey.
Alright. So, for all of everybody that's watching, I got 2 questions for you. I have 2 very, I have opinions on some of the matches that are gonna be happening. But also to complete what I was gonna say, we're wrestling fans if you didn't know.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
We acknowledge our tribal chief.
Uh-huh.
And WrestleMania is this weekend, which it's gonna be glorious.
Oh man, no Robert Roode.
Yeah, maybe one day. Um,
Yeah.
Chris is up Curtis. That's funny. That's crazy.
That's my fiance right there.
What's crazy is that The Rock's been calling out his mom, bro. That's so
Mama
fucked up. Yeah.
Rhodes.
That's so fucked up.
Mama
Okay,
Rhodes.
I wanna know, Sammy Gunther, how do you think that plays out? Because I have an idea in my head of how it's gonna play out and what's gonna lead into, but I feel like that really is the only other storyline that I'm very interested in right now outside of everything that's happening in the main event scene.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah. Um, well, there's like you said, there's like a few things that I see. One of them being him, Sammy winning,
Mhm.
because it's like the payoff to this whole thing. A big part of me, as much as I love Sammy, doesn't want to see him win this title
Mm,
because I fully believe it should have been Chad the
I agree.
entire time.
I agree.
So with that being said, the plot twist of this, because everyone's saying, "Oh, it's Rocky, it's Rocky." Well, this is WWE, in case you forgot, okay?
Oh,
And
wrong yes. Yeah.
yeah, and the plot twist here might end up being that Chad Gable ends up like turning on him anyway.
Yeah.
And Gunther retains, holds the holds on to the belt for a little longer, which would be interesting to say the least. But I mean, it is what it is. He's a really
Yeah.
dominant champion. He's been doing so much for that title.
Mhm,
I can't
mhm.
even remember the last person that held that belt that did as much as he's done for that belt, and he's
Yeah.
made it so prestigious. And you almost forget that he reads that title verbatim, the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, and that's real shit.
Yeah.
Like it's like Triple H went out of his way to bring back the world title for Seth because Roman is so good that
Yep.
he combined the Universal title and WWE title. So it's like, all right, we need a B title.
Secondary.
And tell me how Seth's entire run has essentially just been like everyone that he gets put up against, you find yourself rooting for that person
Right.
because like you love Seth, but you just don't want to see him with this belt
Yes.
anymore. So it's like, how does this have anything to do with Gunther? Well, originally, my first thing was that I was thinking, well, what if he does lose to Sammy so that way he could go after the world title? Because I could see that
It makes
happening.
sense. Yeah.
But then the third option, he retains and he still goes after the fucking world
Yeah.
title. and you establish this like gargantuan dude.
Yeah.
Because like I only want him losing to Chad Gable.
I agree.
100%.
Yeah. Chad deserves it.
Even if Ilya Dragunov gets
Oh my
pushed
god.
up, even if that happens,
Yeah.
I firmly will vouch for my boy Chad Gable. He deserves to be the one to beat
Absolutely.
him first before he starts losing to
Yeah.
other people. Okay? Like
Yes.
that's that.
Yeah. So Gunther and Chad have been working each other on house shows for quite some time. So it's I think it's been coming. My idea, I've been hypothesizing because I've been thinking about it all day, is that Sammy will win and Chad will heel turn and flip on Sammy, and then the belt will then go to Chad eventually. Um, do I want that? No, because Chad is so over. Thank
Oh, thank
you. It's
you.
it's impossible, but I don't see any other. You can't make Sammy a heel. Never gonna happen. Not gonna happen.
Nah, you
Not gonna
can't. You
happen.
know, you absolutely
Right?
cannot because that literally will undo everything that built him up to
Yes.
this point.
He's the underdog. He
You
basically is.
cannot.
Sammy is Rocky, basically. Um, but you cannot have a heel Chad. I think he was him and Jason Jordan, I believe, were heels technically as American Alpha. I think they were heels.
They might have been for a little bit, but they
Yeah,
were godlike.
they were incredible. Jason
I
Jordan is
wish
like an
Jason Jordan
insane
was not
athlete,
hurt.
right? Oh my god. And then same with Bobby Roode. Him and Gable together were fucking magic. Insane. Anyway,
Great
um,
wrestlers.
I know. That's what I think is somehow it's gonna be Sammy and Chad feuding, but I don't want either of them to lose. So I don't know a world, and I truly don't know how this is gonna play out because in my mind, I almost want it to be like a Gunther remains undefeated and vacates the title because he's like, I've literally beaten everybody. There's nothing else here for me. I want the World Heavyweight Championship. That's how I see it. But I don't think them vacating, like, I remember when Samoa Joe vacated the title, everybody was kind of like, oh, that's weird. Like, I don't like this. Why not just have him lose? But it helped him stay strong, right? Like, not having him lose is part of who Joe is because Joe is a fucking monster.
Yeah.
And so that's how Gunther is viewed as well. So I almost can see Gunther retaining over Sammy and making Sammy even a bigger baby face somehow getting fucked over or something like that.
Yeah.
I
Something
don't
like
know.
that.
Yeah, because the way I see it is that the World Heavyweight Championship is changing hands this WrestleMania, regardless. Whoever, whether it's Drew, whether it's uh Senior Money in the Bank, Damian Priest gonna have it.
Damian Priest,
It's
yeah.
gonna change hands. And I think Gunther is gonna go after it. So I guess I have three. What do you think is gonna happen with World Heavyweight Championship? Because I kind of feel like it's going to be Drew beats Seth. Drew's celebrating. Damian cashes in, beats Drew. Damian retains. Damian gets championship. To put it
So
simply.
so all right. The I only see Damian Priest winning that world title if they are deciding to keep Judgment Day together. That's
Ooh.
the only way I see that working out
Yeah.
because they've been purposefully giving us these segments where it looks like there's some tension and this
Yes.
random shit happening. Like, why is Dom bringing the LWO or not LWO, but
Andrade.
uh, yeah, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
why are they coming up?
Yeah.
Why is he bringing Andrade? What's happening? Is Dom even gonna be in the Judgment Day?
Right.
You know, like, he's doing this, mommy that, like he's playing. But wait, the bigger plot twist is that what if Dom actually ends up turning on the Judgment Day? He joins Legado del Fantasma.
Mm.
Andrade is also a part of that. The name completely changes to a new group.
Yep.
And then Elektra Lopez is his new mommy. Bro,
Oh,
that shit
wow.
would that shit would be crazy. No one would expect that.
No.
No one would expect that. That's like the big brain thing, right?
Yeah.
But if so Damian winning, I think would kind of nullify that or
Yeah.
null and void
I see what
because
you mean.
you know what I mean? Because him being champion at least gives the Judgment Day some leg to stand on because
Right.
I feel like they're losing those titles, the tag titles,
Oh,
that
easy. Yeah,
is.
they're being split for
They're
sure.
gonna be split
Yeah.
100%. I definitely agree with
Well,
that.
did you see the stipulation is gonna be they're gonna be hanging independently, and then
Yes.
the match isn't over until both go. So,
Bro,
thank God.
before
Thank
Michael
God.
Cole made the call saying that, like, both titles need to be retrieved, I was like, "Thank you for clarifying," because,
Yes.
like, if you have I don't remember the last time we've ever gotten a ladder match of any sort that featured both tag belts at the same time.
I couldn't tell you. I don't feel like it's ever really happened. At least
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and so and what would be super indicative of like, oh, you could just have to bring down one set and you win. If that was the case, they would have unified those belts. They
Oh,
would have
absolutely.
done what they did with Romans
Yep.
last year and made
Yep,
it
yep,
one
yep, yep.
title, and they did not do that. So they're splitting them up because you have enough teams. You have a tag team title on SmackDown, you have a tag team title on Raw, and I'm hoping that after the split, they redesign them. So
I agree.
all of all of this to
The blue and
say
red is
Drew
crazy.
McIntyre is winning the fucking world
Okay.
championship.
And
Yes.
then do you think Dom is gonna, interfere
With what, the cash in if it
with the cash
happens?
in? Yeah. The cash in is happening. There's absolutely the greatest swerve would be if they cashed in on Roman. Not gonna happen. That would be
No way.
insane, insane. Not gonna
They're
happen.
not
So it's
th
gonna be on
they're not
Drew.
touching that.
Yeah, it's gonna be on Drew or Seth.
Yeah.
The only other thing I could see would be Damian cashing in mid-match and fucking over Drew
Trying to pull a
mid-match.
Seth Rollins.
Yes. Yes.
Mm.
It would make
Trying
sense.
to pull a Seth Rollins on Seth Rollins. Oh.
Yeah. Yes. The
Oh.
greatest heist. So, that's I don't know. I it would make sense for Drew's character for him to get fucked over again. It would keep feuding or, like, fueling that rage that he has. Another way that people have seen that or people are talking about that I've seen is, if CM Punk fucks over Drew, and that's how Damian gets the belt, is that Damian cashes in, Punk fucks with Drew leading into Clash of the Castle, I think is what it's called. Um,
If he's even, okay, if
cleared?
he's
Yeah.
cleared by then to even
I
wrestle.
think he's cleared. Don't quote me on that one. I wanna say he's cleared, but yeah,
He's definitely
yeah,
not cleared right now. He's
yeah,
still hurt, and that's why he's doing commentary, but
right.
because it's CM Punk, they wanted him to be involved in some way. I get
Yeah.
that.
I feel like he's clear he's probably gonna be cleared enough to interfere, not necessarily wrestle, but somehow fuck over Seth, with during the cash in somehow.
Well, that's the
So
thing, like, him being there is so weird, just off of the principle of who do you fuck over more? Do you fuck over Drew or do you fuck over Seth?
right.
Because it was supposed to be CM Punk versus Seth Rollins at
Yeah.
WrestleMania for that world title. It wasn't supposed to be Drew McIntyre.
Nope.
And now that we have Drew McIntyre, I want his ass to win because I
Yeah.
like Drew.
I love Drew.
I like Drew. I like his story
Yes.
and his reworked character, his persona now has actually been really entertaining.
I agree.
I love it a lot. And as much as I love Seth, right now he's honestly just a theme song for me.
Yeah.
You know,
And
like,
he's too involved with everything going on with Cody.
and
That
that's
yeah,
another big thing. That is
yeah.
another huge thing. Like it
Doesn't make
needs to
sense.
pay off this way, where Drew takes advantage of how like busy he's been. He's not mentally there. He's trying to fucking help out Cody over here and get involved with The Rock and shit like
Yeah.
that. Drew needs to win. If he doesn't win, man, I will be
Agree.
actually upset for him.
Yeah. And I think it's time that Drew gets his flowers too, because he was champion during the
The
COVID era, during
pandemic.
the pandemic. And it was like
Yeah.
that was some of the worst fucking wrestling ever was during that, it just wasn't fun to watch.
He
Right?
literally beat Brock Lesnar and
Yeah.
Big Show
Yeah.
in one night in front of nobody.
Yeah. Fucking shame.
Terrible.
So for him to finally get his flowers on the grandest stage of them all in Philadelphia,
Yeah, man, he deserves it.
he
Like,
deserves it.
he needs to.
Yeah. Same with Cody. So Cody. How do you see night one playing out?
So I see Cody and Seth Rollins losing that tag match
I agree.
because I don't understand why on God's green earth would you introduce a potential stipulation and not deliver,
Right.
especially if they're trying to make this the biggest WrestleMania of all time. They say that every year, but again, you cannot preface that enough because it's the truth.
Right.
And it's like it's almost like how and like and this is like one of the things that I guess you could say I hate about not even just with wrestling, but just like when any sort of storyline gives you something to like keep in the back of your mind. You're always going to be like, okay, well, the story is going to eventually work its way around to having that happen.
Yeah.
Same thing, similar to how like you remember how they would do like 2 out of 3 matches, and
Mhm.
it's like I remember they had one with Triple H and Shawn Michaels way back in the day for like Armageddon. I think it was like Armageddon like 2002 or 3. I don't even remember the year. All I do remember was it was like the first match was whatever. The second match was another type of hardcore shit, and the third match was like a ladder match. I was like, "Bro, you know they're gonna fucking go all 3."
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so they're not about to have Rock cut all these promos, whoop Cody ass for weeks
Right.
for them to not do the Bloodlines rules match.
Yeah.
Now, the thing that I will add is that I hope that, and I figured this, I will also add that too. I figured that Bloodline rules was just going to be a fucking hardcore match, right?
Yeah.
Extreme
Well, it
rules,
always
whatever.
is. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think what they really need to emphasize on is they should, in fact, make it so ridiculous. Like, Bloodline rules is not just anything goes. Bloodline rules should be the fucking family is at ringside,
Mhm.
like it's a lumberjack match.
Yeah, absolutely.
They need to deck the ring out full of Samoan shit. They need to make this look like not like the Punjabi prison, but they need to bring the aesthetic to the
Yeah.
match so it doesn't just feel like it's chairs, tables, and
Yeah.
that's
We
it.
need to be transported to Hawaii.
It's something,
Yeah.
like we need to have that feel in that ring for that Bloodline rules for night two's main event.
I agree. Yeah.
Like like there needs to be something in place so that it feels like, yo, there's no way Cody's winning this.
Right.
Because obviously the story is that his story he needs to finish, da da da, which I
Yeah.
hate, whatever. I'm over it.
I
But
think everybody else
that's
did too.
yeah, like but that's what's happening.
Yeah.
So in order to tell this like very valiantly, is like, yeah, bloodline rules, the whole family's there, even some new folks, whatever, maybe
Jacob.
potentially
Jacob
Jacob
Fatu.
Fatu
God
or
damn.
Tamatanga from New
Yeah.
Japan, right?
Tamatanga, absolutely. Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah. So like, if they have all that and they really and obviously Seth is like fucked up, he can't help him,
Yeah.
right? Jay can try, but it's like he's about to get out family, right? And this is where you have the big pops, the Avengers Assemble, the
Yep.
fucking John Cena, the Stone Cold, possibly the Undertaker. This is where you
Undertaker?
do
Who the
that.
fuck's that Undertaker?
No, no,
That'd be crazy.
there's been things online where
I wanna
it's part
see
of the rumor.
Dustin Rhodes, bro. That's what I want.
I will okay, as much as like okay, I know that just because off of, that's his like his older brother
Yeah.
who's active wrestler.
Yep.
Like, it would be cool to see, I guess,
Yeah.
but, like, the way I'm trying to imagine this is, like, if you have Roman Reigns standing next to The Rock, who's also in a line with, like, Solo Sikoa and possibly, like, a new
Right.
Bloodline member that we haven't seen yet, right? I don't think it will have the same effect if you have
Mm.
Cody standing next to
Goldust.
Gold Dust. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just can't do it.
I get it.
He needs to stand next to Stone Cold and John Cena at the least.
Mm.
And
And
if that
MJF.
happens, huh?
And MJF.
Stop.
Dang.
Now, but no, wait, see, all right, now time out because you said it, right? Okay, we'll go there.
All right.
We'll go there. It would be very, very crazy for AEW to allow something like that to
It
happen.
would be in fucking sane.
If they
Ain't
were
no
to
way.
so all right, I will give you this much of the bone, all right?
Awesome.
Because stop. I will I because you went there, right? Okay. The only thing I could pull from this to like tie that in is when there was that media scrum that happened. The
Mm,
press whatever, something. And Triple H got a question and someone mentioned like, "Oh, like the forbidden door." And he started
yeah,
laughing. He goes, "I think that's stupid.
yeah.
There is no forbidden door. We're always open for business."
Mhm.
And as you can see, TNA, we got Jordan Grace, fantastic talent, da 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 da. And they let her have her title. They announced her as the TNA Women's Champion. All I'm saying, for your sake, if they want to do business, all Tony has
Yeah,
to do is literally say, okay, I want Cody, because he's our boy too. I want him to have his special moment. I would like to lend you MJF for just WrestleMania.
ain't no way.
Ain't no way. It's not
Ain't no
happening.
way.
That's why I'm saying
However,
it would be crazy.
it would be the craziest fucking thing to ever happen in wrestling history.
Listen. All right, here's the facts. The facts is Stone Cold and John Cena. When they come
Yeah,
out,
for
we're
sure.
gonna have a good reaction. We're like,
The
oh
most
yeah, let's
insane pop,
go.
yeah.
Right? It's gonna be sick, dude. If MJF, an AEW wrestler, fucking shows up on a WWE stage at WrestleMania to help Cody, I will probably like I won't even know it. I will probably fall.
Yeah,
I will
I'll cry
I will
easily.
fall. I will be so speechless. I'll just be "Ah!" Like just random yelling. The crazy thing is, we'll all be there together to
Yeah,
experience this.
yeah.
I'm not,
That
dude.
would be the most insane thing to happen,
That would
easily.
break everything. Like
Yeah,
all the rules that we think we knew,
yeah,
broken. There is no forbidden door, like Triple H said.
right.
That shit is dumb, like he said. And what better way to prove it than to allow?
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure they would be down for it, but it's like Tony would want them to at least acknowledge where they're from.
yeah.
Because
Not gonna happen.
I will cite another source. They wanted Billy Gunn back during a
Oh,
DX
that's right.
reunion thing.
Yeah.
It didn't happen. Why? Because Tony said he could do it, but I want y'all to mention that he is with AEW, and he is like at the time I think he was the trios champion
Mhm.
with the acclaimed. So I don't know if he had to say all that, but they, just like with the Jordan Grace treatment,
Yeah,
we want you to acknowledge us
right.
on your platform. And sure, you can
We'll
have your
see.
your full DX reunion, and it didn't happen. But that was then. This is now.
Yeah, this is
Obviously,
Hunter's territory. New leadership. I don't think it doesn't make sense.
it's not happening,
It doesn't
bro.
make
It's just not
sense.
happening. It just can't. It
TK will
can't.
never. No, it would never.
The
So
Undertaker will come back first
I
before MJ
yeah.
fucking F at this
I
WrestleMania this weekend. There's no
this
way.
this is one of those locks in a noggin moments for us where we're so caught up in the lore of everything that we want it to happen so bad, and then yeah. So Stone Cold, John Cena. I don't know who else would come to help him. I think it would be cool to see Dustin. I think it would mean a lot, and I know that he really wants to be there.
If his
Um,
brother, like I'll give,
yeah,
yeah, Crystal said in the chat too. Like if his brother, if they allowed his brother, I can see that happening because I even
yeah,
remember back when AEW first started, Dustin Rhodes requested his release, and they let it happen,
mm,
so that way he could go with his brother to
yeah,
AEW, and I mean, that wasn't fucking doing anything with Goldust anyway.
right, exactly. So
So
I
yeah,
think that could happen. Um, I don't think. Okay, this is my big theory for what could potentially happen.
Okay.
I think the match happens, all the fucking cameos, everything's gonna happen. Um, Cody pins Roman, but The Rock fucks Cody out and says, "No, no, no, you don't get this title. This title belongs to me." And strips him of the title and pulls a political move as member of the board TKO pulls the title from him, just like what happened to his daddy at MSG, and the story continues. And I think that's where it goes. Then it's Cody feuds with Rock. Roman doesn't have the title, is now Little Rock, basically. There's that feud. They're both feuding against The Rock and the bloodline. Maybe Cody Roman super team up. But I want to say Cody's gonna win. However, I don't see where the story goes right now after the win. You know, like it doesn't make sense. Once Cody wins, it's the peak. Okay, then what? How do you top that? How you top that is by doing the same fucking shit that happened to his daddy. And The Rock pulls the title, and then The Rock is now Universal Undisputed Championship. Undisputed
Okay.
Champion. That's how I can see it. I know it's gonna piss everybody off so much, but like what's next for Cody outside of running away from the bloodline, right?
Okay. As someone who clearly wants Roman to
Mhm,
win,
mhm.
I would probably feel so heartbroken
Yeah.
and disheveled. I would feel very fucked up. I'm not even gonna lie. As a Roman Reigns advocate, I literally would be like, no, do not do that to this poor man. Like, you already know all their family's gonna be in the front row.
Yeah, it's like when Gable lost to fucking Gunther and his daughter was crying on screen.
Dude, if listen, no, no, no. See, here's the thing. This is your main event of
Mhm.
night 2, not night 1. This is the end of the end of this event. If they pull that shit, if Cody has his moment, he wins, he ends the streak. So there's no more that reign is done.
Yeah.
There's no reversing it.
Mhm.
There's no none of that shit. Even if The Rock was to be all political and be like, "I'm the boss, I say what goes, and you're not the champion anymore." Even if he decides to put it right back onto Roman Reigns, that would not sit right with
Mm.
me. It would not sit right with any real tribal chief fan because we at that moment we all know he lost.
Yeah.
So even if you try to say and they'd be like, "Oh, like WWE wants to tell the story however they want to tell it." Dude, the fans will always know the real truth no matter how WWE wants to tell it. And they pray and hope that we forget later on. Oh
Amen.
yeah, Roman Reigns, he beat Bruno Sammartino's record. And then no, he didn't. Cody beat him and they put it back on. No, can't do it.
I see it as Rock takes the title and is then the champion because he's like, "Ain't no way you're not beating my family. This isn't over." Pulls the title, is then the champion.
But see, this is dude, I'm telling you, this is the thing. This is the problem is that I'm thinking of like all of the worst outcomes
Yeah.
that would cause so much fucking like nuclear
And this
heat,
is the worst.
okay? You cannot do like, dude, this is like on some Montreal screw job times
Mhm.
100.
Yeah.
You cannot have this guy finish the story in front of Philly? Yo, people will jump that
The
shit.
riot in the streets.
They will go crazy. It's bad enough down there as it is.
That's true.
You want to rile that up? You're crazy. People will lose their minds. If Cody wins and The Rock takes the title from him, and that's how the show ends, there's no dark match. It's fucking WrestleMania. It's done. Dude, no. I can't no. I would rather Cody just
Just
win
lose.
clean.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Win clean, the story's done. Okay, we can move on.
Right.
The other side of this though, because we were talking very heavy on Cody. they've been saying a lot of things. Roman himself has been saying a lot of things. If you look at future dates on shows that haven't even happened yet, he is still scheduled to be a part of like SummerSlam and shit like that.
Yeah.
So when you watch the documentary, he specifically says, if I'm not on the top, I don't want to be here. Then he goes on a podcast and he says, I still got like 10 years left in me.
Mm,
I'm good. Does he lose?
right.
I don't know. Like, because
What's best for the business? You think
he's what's
Triple
fucking best for business, god damn it.
Cody's the face of the company. That's why I think the belt on Cody makes the most sense because he is WWE right now. However, like, where do you go next? You know?
Listen, he's the face because he is the top baby face.
Yeah.
The real person who's been putting this company on the map has been Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Watch that documentary. They say it all. That documentary was probably the best documentary I've ever seen. And I watching that, I got motivated. I was like, I could do anything. Like Roman Reigns is the fucking man. And that's what I'm saying, Crystal. He brings so much to the business.
Yeah.
He brings things that Cody, I don't think really can. Like Cody he is a very top star. He is a superstar.
Yeah. G.I. Joe.
Roman
Like
is just
and
levels above. Like he is, bro, I'm wearing the goddamn hoodie. He really just is like, he is all these things that you will find on any of his merchandise because it's the fucking facts. It really is. Like, so it's like, I can't like, okay, here's the other thing. I'm just going to say it.
okay.
I have a feeling if you put the title on Cody Rhodes, you will get a repeat situation of what happened with him in AEW.
I agree.
The fans will turn on Cody Rhodes.
Mhm.
And you can't do, like Roman was right. Cody is a politician. Look at the fucking promo he cut right after he said that. He was politicianing. He was riling up the crowd. He's like, guys, I need y'all to root for me. Like he was trying to win an election. Everything Roman does and says is fact. This is why it is so hard to just be like, okay, he's winning 100% of the way. Because I can see arguments for both sides. I can see people that see Cody lose, they will fall off. They will be so mad. They won't believe in Cody, and it just won't look good for Cody. So I guess what I'm trying to say is it's like you can put the belt on him, but it's not going to have the same effect like it did when Roman
Yeah.
had the belt.
I agree. I wonder if Cody wins, Cody turns heel. And then, because I think everybody wants him to do like a Homelander run where he's just like the same persona, just a total dickhead. And then you flip it and have Roman then chase as a babyface because he's getting buried by The Rock to then face The Rock, come back to Grace, face evil Cody in the reverse.
I mean, I don't know, dude. A huge part of me, I just feel like the best route is to just keep the belt on Roman. And I probably sound and look so biased.
You got the hat
I got
and
the
the
guy.
hoodie in the red chair.
Like I understand how this looks. I really do. But man, it's just so different.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I just know that I'm not going to blink during that match.
Oh, absolutely not.
And like, I won't like, I will need some real time to process this after the show's over. Like, we're gonna have to sit down and just be like,
Right. Come down from the high, just eating
"Oh."
pizza.
Yeah, fucking all that shit, yeah. Well, Crystal won't let me order Domino's at her place. I wanna do it at mine, but at her we're doing different food over there.
I bet.
Yeah, probably just a real pizzeria, but,
Yeah.
it's alright.
Alright, well, that was fun. That was like a whole fucking 40 minutes of fucking wrestling. God bless.
Have fun with those clips.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna cut it out of the live stream and then cut it out and make it its own thing, so it is what it is.
That's fair.
Well, anyway, if you stay with us through the whole thing, Crystal, thank you for being here. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Hit us up. All of our
Mhm.
links down in the show description below. If you want us to have a wrestling podcast, let us know because it would be levels above anything else you ever listen to.
It is fun. It is fun, though, I
It's
will
so much
admit.
fun.
It is very fun.
Speculating is fun. So it's fun to have something like this, especially this time of year, right? With Mania coming up and everything. So um anything else? I think we covered everything. Check us out next Wednesday, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be right back here with more coverage of
WrestleMania
your of
follow-up.
WrestleMania follow-up and X-Men 97
Episode 5.
episode 5, titled, do I still have it up? Titled episode 5 titled Remember It, where it's Gene and Scott and doing all their Genosha stuff. So should be a good time. We'll see you there. Thanks for joining us. Uch, anything else you have to say to the people?
Just share, and subscribe, guys. Keep supporting us in any way that you can, and,
Acknowledge the tribal chief.
acknowledge the fucking tribal chief, damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good night, everybody. We'll catch you next time. Bye bye.
See ya.